Let's say you want to start learning UX design. Generally, what you think is, hey, you know what? I need to start getting clarity about what UX design is and all that stuff. I really need these answers. But you know what? Ironically, when I teach UX design, when people come to me, I ask them to be utterly, terribly be confused about what UX design is or anything related to UX design. Let me show you something. So what I do is I give them one assignment when they actually get started. I give them one assignment. I call this as pursuit. Okay, pursuit of design. Let me show that to you. So this is Discord where people do a bunch of activities. When I mentor, I give them a bunch of activities and they do it. Yeah, look at this. I want you all to continue this pursuit staying totally, utterly confused, not waiting for surface level answers, figuring out how to make sense for you and asking more questions and enjoy the transformation that will happen to you. Yes. So what I basically do is I want them to go into complete confusion about everything they really want to know or they think they know about UX design. In fact, what I ask them to do is I ask them a question, hey, you know what? What is UX design? Or what is product design? And then I say, I won't give the answer. What I want you to do is I want you to all debate about it. So if you see over here, right, there are a bunch of people who are actually debating about what they understand about this word design means. Design is about something that fulfills a human need, and someone is like, according to me, design is something that is invisible, and someone is anything which we can see and get impressed with it. So a bunch of people giving answers about what their perspective of design is and debating about their opinions, right? And what I ask them to do is, you don't have to be worried about what is the right answer over here. All I ask them to do is get all the wrong answers. Listen to everyone's wrong answers, right? So, and you must be thinking, hey, Anudeep, what is this man like? Looks like, if you are my mentor, you're going to confuse the shit out of me, right? See, let me tell you one thing. See, firstly, whenever you want to learn anything, right, we generally get into this mindset that we have to learn anything by the book, right? Because what happens is our education system has made us in such a way, has told us that whatever you want to learn, you will have to basically have a textbook for it. You need to have a bunch of chapters, classes for it, and education only happens in that particular classroom. I should say we were kind of brainwashed to think that this is what education is, and you know what, there needs to be an exam to actually test whatever you have learned, and that single point of the exam where we'll have to bring all the knowledge, whatever you think is the knowledge should be just uttered out there at that one single point, right? But let me tell you one thing. If you see, you've learned a lot of things right from your childhood, not through the books, but actually through what is there out there without even a conscious effort of learning it. Let me give you an example. Let's say we've all learned English, right? So how did you learn English? Do you think you can learn very good English by just opening a dictionary out there and thinking that, hey, you know what, if at all I learn all these words in the dictionary, my English is going to be perfect, right? And for the worst case, if at all I don't know any of these words, I'll not talk English. That's not the approach, isn't it? The way you go and learn a language is by going and talking to people. When you start talking, you'll make a lot of mistakes. This like only I will talking and basis that only I will you'll obviously start talking in this particular manner, right? And as you keep talking, as you keep making mistakes, as you interact with more number of people, that is when you will start making yourself better as time goes. And one thing which if you have observed over here is you will continuously be in the process of learning. You might be like, okay, this is about English. If you actually think about your mother tongue, you have learned your mother tongue also in the same particular manner, right? Did any one of your parents actually come and say, hey, beta, from now onwards, let us start talking our mother tongue. From now onwards, I'll keep taking classes to you and talking mother tongue. No, it doesn't happen. We just naturally keep picking words from everywhere we start talking. And in fact, as kids, it is very cute when we make those mistakes of trying to talk. And many other things. If you look at multiple other life skills which you have, the things which you enjoy, let us say you're watching cricket or any of the games you played, anything, most of the things, we have not learnt them through a book. The most of the things which we really, really enjoy and make sense for us, we have learnt them in what I call as the non-textbook approach. By going to it, by getting confused about it, by going and debating with a lot of people, by embracing that there can be a lot of confusion, a lot of perspectives, and being curious about it on a daily basis, being curious about it, learning from those mistakes, and not at all being worried about making those mistakes. This is how we have actually learned a lot of things in our life. And what I'm telling is, we need to also learn design in this particular manner. What you need to do is, you need to first learn how to be curious. You need to change your mentality from thinking that, hey, you know what? I need the answers. What is UX design? What is product design? What is card sorting? What is information architecture? Instead of thinking about I need answers to these questions, I want us to focus on what are the questions that I should ask. Is there a way that I can become more and more curious? Let me show you something. So what I did is I took a session on making people ask a lot of questions, and asked them on the call. What I asked them is, hey, what are the questions you are, you're curious about? When they started asking questions, instead of answering those questions, what it said is, hey, you know what? I'll add on a few more questions to make you more curious about this. Let me show you that. You can see this.
What questions to ask, from where should I pick? There a requirement of different job title.
Make you more curious. If interaction has motion, then what are motion designers doing? If what motion designers are doing are for interactions, then aren't UX designers already doing this? Aren't UX designers doing, then who are these motions for? Whom are these interactions for? They are ultimately for users. So why all this? That's what we're curious about, right? Yes. Thanks, Jyoti. What I'll also do is, Jyoti, I will leave you with one more question, which will confuse you further, but it will make you more curious. What is interaction? Is interaction about motion? When you say interaction, is it related to the term micro interactions? Or is it something different? Does interaction always need to have motion associated with it? Yeah, I'm also hinting some answer here, but be curious about this. Okay, write this down in your notebook as well. So what is interaction? It's good actually. This is supposed to happen, Shruti. This exact conversation is supposed to happen, because this is not just you. This is an entire world out there which forgets the word thinking in design thinking and worries too much about the process which is represented through a diagram.
See, if you observe, what I'm trying to do is, I am consciously making them start thinking about questions to ask. Remember this one word, which is very, very important: pursuit. What has happened is, a lot of times in this age, we've just forgotten about what pursuit means, right? Because we just have, at least we think we have answers immediately in front of us, right? Let's say we are curious about something, we just Google it and get some Google answers, and over, our pursuit is done, right? I feel back in those days when it was not so easy to get answers, we were really, really focused on asking very good questions, right? Being more curious, because we were not having answers with us. We used to discuss the questions with a lot of people around us. Be curious, share the curiosity, start debating about what we think is the answer, and then go search for it, and probably we'll find some book or some senior or someone who will share their perspective and start thinking about it. Getting an answer used to really have this long process, and this is what we call as pursuit. And this pursuit teaches you more than immediately getting an answer. In fact, the pursuit is so bad these days that what you just do is, you go on Instagram, you find a very good, let us say, post about, hey, you know what, these are 4 things which you can do actually to learn about this process, and all we do is just save it and move forward, right? Our pursuit ends in just saving that particular reel. So anyway, remember this word called pursuit, right? More than immediately getting an answer, because what is the use of getting an answer if you don't know how to apply that particular answer? See, ultimately, whatever you know, you should put into practice. Only whatever you put into practice, that is when you can go and produce results, isn't it? Because ultimately, if you want to become a UX designer, do you just want to be happy that you are learning something, or you want to go and work and impact a business and make money? Ultimately, you want to make money, right? So what matters is, how do you apply? Just the answer in itself is not really what works. In fact, a lot of times, answers are literally there in front of us. But the pursuit, the curiosity of going and knowing and talking to multiple people is what will really, really start giving you insights about how do you put things into practice. Because pursuit makes you go and do things and realize things for yourself. rather than the answer in front of you, which doesn't really make you have any self-realization of what that would have actually meant. Right? And textbook education, what it does to us is it just asks us to put our common sense away, thinking that whatever I know right now is totally wrong and whatever the book is presenting is the right answer. Which is one more reason why I ask people to debate. Just imagine this. Last time when you had a debate, right? Let's say you had a debate with your sister or a mother or a spouse or whatever, right? Whenever you have the debate, that is when you will actually go and do a lot of research or find a lot of reasoning, and because you want to win that particular debate, that is when you really overthink a lot about it, right? Debates is one very, very important way to actually make us go into pursuit. We can be very, very curious about a lot of things, and debates make us realize that answers can be multiple types. For many things in UX design, many things in design in itself, and for many things in this world, there are no single right answers. When you debate, you will realize this point that different things can actually work differently for different people. Design can mean differently for different people, and how it works for them is different. And these debates make you more curious and put you in the pursuit, and this pursuit helps you realize your own way of understanding and applying and impacting with design. Because as I'm saying, impact, right? Ultimately, if you want a career in UX design, all you need to do is, how is it that being you yourself with the things which make sense to you, how can you create an impact to a particular business? This is what really matters, right? Please don't misunderstand this as, no, I need to be perfect in learning everything by the book about design, and a company is like sitting like some IIT examination out there where I just give the correct answers and the company will reward me with the marks or with the money instead of marks. That is not how businesses work. You need to understand every business is very different. The kind of problems they solve is very different. They need your skill set, the way your practice of going and solving design problems, a practice of understanding needs to match with the way company does the business, and you as a person should help them get the business impact. That is how companies work. They are not sitting out there with dictionaries checking for the correctness of what you think, right? They are people, you are a person, right? Everyone is a human. It needs to be a match between what you are trying to do and what they are trying to do. So what I'm asking you to do is go and start this pursuit, have this perspective shift of being in pursuit. Focus on asking questions. Be curious. Don't worry about immediate answers. Go talk to people. Listen to multiple versions of their answers. Don't worry about whether it is being right or wrong. Let me tell you one thing. Your brain, our brains have the capability of listening and processing multiple pieces of information from multiple places, storing it in one corner of our brain. And when we are actually applying things, when given a problem, we're trying to solve that problem as a design problem, our brain somehow magically brings all those different perspectives which we have picked up into it, and it is capable enough for us to get that realization for ourselves, right? So realize the answer through your practice, but always be curious about going and asking questions. This is what really works and makes you much better than you sitting and waiting until you actually get to the perfect ABC of learning UX design. Right? In this way, what will happen is you will be very much willing to consume a lot of information out there, very conflicting also. It doesn't matter because you're only just consuming and it's making you even more curious, right? And you'll be willing to practice right from day one because you're not even worried about making mistakes, because you also know that making mistakes is the way to actually become even more curious and learn, right? So you'll start acting from day zero, and you'll start learning from day zero, and you'll start figuring out your own way of how design works for you and start making impact right from day zero. This is the way to learn UX design, and this is the approach which I also take to whomever comes to me for learning UX design. So if you love this, I have one task for you. In the comments, what I want you to do is be curious about what you want to learn, anything related to UX design, and ask questions. I want the comments to be filled with any kind of questions you have. Don't worry about answers. Don't worry about answers at all. Comment questions, as many questions as you want. Just keep commenting and look at all the comments, and you'll be surprised in terms of what are the number of things people are very curious about. Okay, so let's see you in the comments. Thank you.